My beloved child, I know that deep within the quiet chambers of your heart, there is a lingering shadow of feeling unwanted, a persistent whisper telling you that you must constantly earn your place in this world, and even in my presence. You look around at the effortless belonging of others and wonder why you always feel like you are standing on the outside looking in, waiting for an invitation that never seems to arrive. I want you to know with absolute certainty that before the foundations of the earth were laid, before the stars were hung in the velvet sky, and before you ever took your first breath, I chose you. You did not have to audition for my love. You did not have to perform to catch my eye. And you did not have to achieve a single thing to be the object of my deepest affection and eternal delight. It is exhausting, is it not, to live your life as if every day is a test you are afraid of failing, believing that your value is something that fluctuates based on your productivity or your social standing. You have carried the heavy burden of trying to prove that you matter, hoping that if you are just helpful enough, smart enough, or kind enough, the world will finally validate your existence. But I am here to dismantle that lie and tell you that your worth was settled in the silent eternity before time began, established by my sovereign will and my boundless love. You are not a candidate hoping to be selected for a team. You are my child, already seated at the table, already named, and already cherished beyond your wildest comprehension. I see the way you hesitate before you speak, the way you analyze every interaction, wondering if you have done enough to secure your standing with the people around you. This anxiety stems from the false belief that love is a transaction, a wage to be earned rather than a gift to be received. But my love for you is not a reaction to your goodness. It is the source of your goodness, a proactive, fierce, and unchangeable commitment that started in my heart long before it ever reached yours. You do not need to strive to be chosen by me, because that decision was made when you were nothing more than a thought in my mind, a thought that brought me immense joy. There is a specific pain in feeling like an afterthought, like a plan B, that people settle for when their first choice is unavailable, and I know this pain has carved deep grooves into your soul. You have let this feeling of being second best color your view of me, fearing that perhaps I also see you as a backup plan or a replacement for someone better. Let me silence that fear right now. To me, you are not a replacement, you are not a spare part, and you are not an alternative. You are the original masterpiece I intended to create. My choice of you was intentional, specific, and primary, driven by a desire to see exactly you, with your specific heart, mind, and spirit, exist in my universe. You have spent so much energy trying to curate a version of yourself that you think is acceptable, polishing your edges and hiding your struggles, so that no one will have a reason to reject you. But this curated version is not who I chose. I chose the real you, the raw you, the you that exists when the lights are off and the crowd has gone home. I chose you with full knowledge of every mistake you would ever make, every doubt you would ever wrestle with, and every flaw you would ever try to hide. My choice was not based on a prediction of your perfection, but on the certainty of my grace, which is sufficient to cover every imperfection and transform every weakness into strength. Consider the vastness of creation, the billions of souls who have walked this earth, and realize that amidst this infinite sea of humanity, I paused to design you with precise attention to detail. I did not create you in a factory of mass production. I knit you together in your mother's womb, weaving your personality, your gifts, and your passions into a unique tapestry that has never existed before and will never exist again. You are not a random accident of biology or a product of chance. You are a deliberate act of divine creation, willed into existence because I decided the world would be incomplete without you. The world tells you that you are only as good as your last success, pushing you onto a treadmill of endless performance where you can never truly rest or feel secure. I invite you to step off that treadmill and collapse into the arms of the one who says, "It is finished, and you are mine." Your identity is not found in what you do, but in whose you are, and you belong to the Creator of the stars who looks at you and sees His own reflection. Rest in the knowledge that the pressure is off, the audition is over, and the role of beloved child is yours to keep forever, signed and sealed by my eternal covenant. You often feel a deep, inexplicable hunger for meaning that goes far beyond the simple need for approval or the temporary high of a compliment from a peer. This hunger is a sign, a spiritual homing beacon I have placed within you, reminding you that you were made for something greater than the fleeting applause of this world. When you receive praise, it feels good for a moment, but it quickly fades, leaving you empty and searching again, because your soul knows it was designed to be filled by my infinite love, not by finite human validation. This dissatisfaction with the shallow winds of life is not a defect. It is a holy protection, keeping you from settling for less than the deep, abiding intimacy I offer. I watch you achieve goals that others envy, yet when you reach the summit, you feel a strange hollowness, a sense that this cannot be all there is. You wonder why you cannot just be happy with what satisfies everyone else, why you always crave a depth and a purpose that seems just out of reach. This is because I have placed eternity in your heart, a vast space that no amount of worldly success, money, or fame can ever fill. You are a citizen of a kingdom that is not of this world, and your spirit recognizes that the currency of earth cannot purchase the peace you truly desire. Your sensitivity, which you have often viewed as a weakness or a burden, is actually a sign of your unique design and your capacity to perceive the spiritual realities that others miss. You feel things deeply because I created you to have a heart that beats in rhythm with mine, a heart that breaks for what breaks mine and rejoices in what brings me joy. This depth of feeling is what draws you back to me time and time again, for you know instinctively that I am the only one who can handle the weight of your emotions. Do not despise your sensitivity. It is the very instrument I use to whisper truth to your soul and to guide you back to the sanctuary of my presence. You find yourself constantly returning to me for your identity, even after you have tried to find it in relationships, careers, or achievements, because nothing else fits you quite right. It is like trying to wear clothes that are 2 sizes too small. The labels the world tries to stick on you are restrictive and uncomfortable. You keep coming back to prayer, back to my word, and back to the quiet place because that is where you remember who you actually are. This magnetic pull toward me is the strongest evidence that you belong to me, that you are a sheep who knows the shepherd's voice and cannot be content following a stranger. There is a part of you that simply cannot play the game of social climbing and manipulation, no matter how much you think it would help you get ahead. You value authenticity over popularity and truth over leverage, which often leaves you feeling misunderstood or sidelined in a culture that rewards performance. But this refusal to compromise your soul is a mark of my spirit within you, guarding your integrity and keeping you reserved for a higher calling. You are not failing at the game of life. You are simply playing by the rules of a different kingdom, one where humility is exalted and the last shall be first. You have noticed that when you try to force things to happen in your own strength, they often crumble, but when you surrender to my timing, doors open in ways you could never have orchestrated. This pattern is a sign that your life is not your own to command, but a vessel for my purpose to flow through. It creates a holy frustration in you when you try to take the wheel, reminding you that you were designed for dependency, not autonomy. This reliance on me is not a weakness. It is the ultimate strength, for it connects your limited resources to my unlimited power. Even in your seasons of wandering, when you have tried to run away or numb the pain, you have never been able to completely shake the feeling that I am there, watching and waiting. You cannot unknow me, and you cannot erase the spiritual imprint I have left upon your heart. This inability to escape my love is not a cage, but a safety net, ensuring that no matter how far you drift, the tether of grace will always pull you back to the shore. You are marked by my spirit, sealed for the day of redemption, and that seal is a sign that you were chosen before you ever had the chance to run. You possess a longing to be known fully, without filters or pretenses, a desire that often leads to disappointment in human relationships, because no person can truly see the depths of your soul. This longing is actually a desire for heaven, a desire for the face-to-face communion with me that you were created for. It is a sign that you are not just a physical body having a spiritual experience, but a spiritual being who is currently journeying through a physical world. Your frustration with the limitations of human connection is a pointer directing you to the only one who knows the number of hairs on your head and the hidden prayers of your heart. You feel a strange discomfort when you are in environments that compromise your values, a physical or spiritual recoil that makes it impossible for you to just go along to get along. This conviction is the Holy Spirit functioning as your internal compass, alerting you when you are drifting off course. It is a sign that you have been set apart, consecrated for a specific purpose that requires purity and alignment. While others may seem to frolic in the mud without consequence, you are called to walk on higher ground, and your spirit knows it cannot settle for the lowlands. You have a history of coincidences that are too specific to be random, moments where a song, a word, or a stranger spoke exactly what you needed to hear in a moment of despair. These are not accidents. They are breadcrumbs of grace I have dropped along your path to remind you that I am intimately involved in the details of your life. They are signs of my attentive care, proof that I am monitoring your journey and intervening to keep you from despair. You see these signs because you are looking for them, because your spirit is tuned to the frequency of my grace. Ultimately, the greatest sign that you were chosen is your persistent desire to love, and to be loved in a way that is pure, sacrificial, and eternal. In a world that is often cold and self-serving, your tender heart is a reflection of my own nature, a mirror reflecting the light of heaven. You are a carrier of my love, a vessel of my mercy, and this internal drive to connect with the divine is the undeniable proof that you originated in my heart and are destined to return to it. I know the sting of rejection has left you with wounds that are slow to heal, making you flinch whenever someone gets too close or silence falls between you and a friend. You have been let down by people you trusted, left behind by those you thought would stay, and these experiences have planted a deep fear that you are easily disposable. You walk through life waiting for the other shoe to drop, anticipating the moment when people will realize you are not worth their time and will trade you in for someone newer or brighter. But I want to heal that wound with the truth that I am the friend who sticks closer than a brother, and my commitment to you is not fickle or seasonal. This fear of replacement haunts you, whispering that your seat at the table is temporary and that your role can be filled by anyone with more talent or charisma. You compare yourself to others, seeing only their strengths and your weaknesses, convinced that it is only a matter of time before you are made redundant. But in my kingdom, there is no competition for your specific calling. No one else can be you, and no one else can do what I have called you to do. You are irreplaceable in my plan, a unique instrument in my orchestra that provides a sound essential to the symphony of history. I see how you have resorted to people-pleasing as a survival mechanism, bending over backwards to accommodate others in hopes that your usefulness will secure your belonging. You say yes when you want to say no, you smile when you want to cry, and you suppress your own needs to avoid being a burden. This is a heavy mask to wear, my child, and it suffocates the beautiful personality I gave you. I did not create you to be a doormat or a chameleon. I created you to be a pillar, standing strong in the identity I gave you, loved for who you are, not for what you provide. Anxiety grips your chest when you walk into new rooms, a creeping sensation of imposter syndrome that tells you everyone else belongs but you are a fraud who snuck in the back door. You scan the room for approval, analyzing facial expressions and tones of voice, terrified of making a mistake that will expose your perceived inadequacy. I want to replace that anxiety with the peace of knowing that you carry my presence with you wherever you go. You do not need the room's permission to be there. You have my permission, and that is the highest authority in the universe. You have often felt like the second choice in friendships, relationships, or opportunities, the one called only when the preferred option is busy. This has instilled a belief that you are destined to be the backup plan, never the priority, never the one someone fights for. But look at the cross and see how I fought for you. Look at the lengths I went to redeem you. To me, you were the prize set before me, the joy that made the suffering endurable. You have always been my first choice, the primary object of my relentless pursuit. There is a deep-seated distrust of good things in your life, a cynicism that says, "This is too good to be true and it won't last." When blessings come, instead of enjoying them, you brace for impact, expecting the rug to be pulled out from under you at any moment. You have been conditioned by loss to expect disappointment, but I am the God of good gifts, and I take delight in blessing my children. I want you to learn to unclench your fists and receive my goodness without looking for the catch, trusting that my heart toward you is purely benevolent. You struggle with the feeling of being invisible, of speaking words that seem to disappear into the air, unheard and unacknowledged by those around you. You wonder if your voice matters, if your presence makes a difference, or if you could simply fade away without anyone noticing. But I hear every whisper, every sigh, and every silent prayer. You are never invisible to me. I keep your tears in a bottle and write your days in my book. Your life is vividly, vibrantly visible to the eyes of heaven. Shame tells you that there is something fundamentally wrong with you, something that makes you unlovable at your core, and so you hide your true self to avoid confirmation of this fear. You build walls to keep people out, thinking you are protecting yourself, but you are only locking yourself in a lonely prison. I want to break down those walls and show you that there is nothing in you that scares me, nothing that disgusts me. I know the worst parts of you and I love you still. My love is not based on your hygiene but on my covenant. You constantly apologize for things that are not your fault, taking responsibility for the emotions and reactions of others as if you are the grandeur manager of the universe. You say, "I'm sorry for taking up space, for having needs, for breathing," because you feel that your very existence is an inconvenience to the world. Stop apologizing for being the creation I delighted to make. You have a right to be here, a right to take up space, and a right to have needs. I created you with needs so that you would come to me to have them filled. The pain of being overlooked for promotions, for invitations, or for recognition stings deeply, reinforcing the lie that you are not special or important. You watch others soar while you feel grounded, wondering when it will be your turn to fly. But remember that I often hide my most precious treasures for a time, keeping them in the secret place to develop their character before releasing them into their destiny. Being overlooked by man often means you are being overseen by God, protected and prepared for a weight of glory you cannot yet see. You wrestle with jealousy, and then you feel shame for being jealous, caught in a cycle of judging yourself for having human emotions. You look at the highlight reels of others' lives and assume they have the happiness you lack, not realizing they are fighting their own hidden battles. This comparison is the thief of joy, stealing the gratitude you could have for your own unique portion. I want you to look at your own plate and see the abundance I have provided, realizing that what I have given you is perfectly tailored for your nourishment and growth. The fear of abandonment is a cold shadow that follows you, a trauma response that tells you everyone eventually leaves. You hold onto people too tightly, or you push them away before they can leave you, trying to control the inevitable pain. But I am the God who says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. My presence is the one constant in a universe of change, the anchor that holds firm in the fiercest storm. You can let go of your death grip on others and hold onto me, knowing that my hand will never let you go. You feel the pressure to be the strong one, the listener, the helper, the one who has it all together for everyone else, while you crumble inside. You wonder who will be strong for you, who will listen to your pain, who will help you when you are drowning. I am that strength, I am that listener, I am that helper. You do not have to carry the world on your shoulders. That is my job. You are allowed to be weak, for in your weakness my strength is made perfect. Sometimes you feel like a mistake, like a glitch in the system, wondering if perhaps you were born in the wrong time or the wrong family. You feel out of sync with the rhythm of this age, longing for a home you have never seen. This homesickness is real, but it is not because you are a mistake. It is because you are an exile. You belong to a kingdom of light, and your discomfort here is proof of your royal lineage. You doubt your value because you measure it by the world's metrics, money, beauty, influence, and feel you come up short. But I measure value by the blood of my Son, and by that standard, you are of infinite worth. You are worth the life of the King of Kings. That is the price tag I placed upon you. Never let the world cheapen what I have purchased at such a high cost. You are tired of the hustle, the striving, the constant need to market yourself and prove your relevance. You long to just be, to exist without an agenda, to be loved without a prerequisite. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. In my presence, you can lay down your resume and pick up your sonship. You can stop doing and start being. The wounds of the past tell you that you are damaged goods, that your history disqualifies you from a bright future. But I am the Redeemer who restores the years the locusts have eaten. I do not just patch you up, I make you new. Your scars are not signs of your ruin. They are testimonies of your survival and my healing power. You fear that if you truly surrender to me, you will lose yourself, that I will ask you to become someone you are not. But the opposite is true. Only in me will you find your true self. The closer you get to the flame of my love, the more the false layers burn away, revealing the gold of your true identity. You struggle to trust that I am good because life has been hard, and you wonder where I was in the darkest moments. I was there, weeping with you, holding you when you couldn't hold yourself, working in the invisible realm to bring you through. My goodness is not the absence of pain. It is the presence of grace in the midst of pain. You feel like you are running out of time, that you have wasted too many years and missed your window of opportunity. But I am the Lord of time, and I exist outside of it. I can do more in a moment than you can do in a lifetime. It is never too late for me to birth a miracle in your life. Ultimately, your struggle is a crisis of believing that you are truly loved. You know it in your head, but it hasn't reached your heart. I am speaking to you now to bridge that gap, to pour my love into the cracks of your brokenness, until you are overflowing with the certainty that you are the beloved of the Lord. Now, receive this revelation that will set you free. My choice of you is not a democracy. It is not voted on by your peers, your family, your boss, or your enemies. Their opinions are just whispers in the wind, but my decree is written in stone. When I called you, I did not consult a committee. I looked at you, I loved you, and I said, "You are mine." Therefore, no human rejection can veto my divine election. You must understand that your calling is a gift to be received, not a prize to be competed for. The world teaches you to fight for your spot, to elbow others out of the way, to climb the ladder at all costs. But in my kingdom, your place is reserved. You do not need to look over your shoulder to see who is gaining on you. Run your own race with your eyes fixed on me, knowing that your lane is yours alone. Being chosen by God is not a badge of arrogance. It is the ultimate foundation of security. Arrogance says, "I am special because I am better than you." Security says, "I am special because God loves me and He loves you too." When you know you are chosen, you do not need to look down on others to feel tall. You can serve them, love them, and celebrate them because your identity is not at risk. The rejection you have faced in your life was often my protection, my way of closing doors that would have led you to destruction. I allowed you to be uncomfortable in places where you didn't belong so that you would keep moving toward the place where you do. What felt like a slap in the face was actually the guiding hand of a shepherd, steering his sheep away from the cliff. You worry that you can lose your calling by making a mistake, but my gifts and my callings are irrevocable. I knew every time you would stumble before I ever called you, and I called you anyway. Your failures do not surprise me, and they do not disqualify you. I am more committed to your destiny than you are, and I will complete the good work I began in you. Grace is the unfair advantage of the chosen. It is the power that qualifies the unqualified. You do not have to be smart enough, strong enough, or good enough. You just have to be willing enough to let my grace work through you. The pressure to perform is replaced by the privilege of partnership. We are doing this together, and I am doing the heavy lifting. There is a profound freedom in realizing that you are living for an audience of one. When you stop trying to please the crowd, you are liberated from their changing demands and fickle applause. My applause is consistent. My approval is settled. You can live your life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they have nothing left to prove. The B team feeling you have carried is a lie from the enemy designed to keep you passive and discouraged. In my eyes, you are a frontline warrior, equipped with specific weapons for a specific battle. Do not let the enemy convince you to sit on the bench when I have called you to the field. You have a role that is crucial to the victory. When I say I chose you before the world began, I mean that your existence is not a random biological event, but a theological necessity. I wanted you here. I wanted your laughter, your tears, your mind, and your hands in this world at this specific time. You are part of the eternal blueprint, a vital brick in the temple I am building. Stop looking for your value in the mirror of other people's eyes. That mirror is distorted and cracked. Look into the mirror of my word, which tells you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for my own possession. This is your true reflection. This is who you are. The security of being chosen means you can take risks, you can fail, and you can try again without the fear of losing your identity. A child who knows they are loved by their parents can explore the world with confidence. I want you to have that same boldness. Go out and live, create, love, and dream, knowing that your home base is secure. Realize that every time you were rejected, I was whispering, I choose you. Every time you were overlooked, I was whispering, I see you. Every time you felt unwanted, I was whispering, I want you. My voice is the final word on your life, and I have spoken a word of love over you that echoes through eternity. You were chosen not just for salvation, but for intimate relationship. I did not just save you from hell, I saved you for myself. I want your heart, your company, your friendship. The creator of the universe actually enjoys you, not just loves you, but likes you. Let that sink in. Your past does not intimidate me, and your future does not worry me. I hold the beginning and the end in my hands, and I have woven your story into the grand narrative of redemption. Even the messy chapters are being used to tell a beautiful story of grace. You can trust the author. The validation you crave from the world is like drinking salt water. It only makes you thirstier. My love is living water. Drink from it, and you will never thirst again. When you are full of my love, you become immune to the rejection of man because you already have everything you need. To be chosen is to be set apart, consecrated for a holy use. This means you may not always fit in with the crowd, but you fit perfectly in my plan. Embrace the distinction, embrace the difference. It is the mark of royalty. Finally, understand that my choice is an act of love, not an act of need. I didn't need you to complete me. I chose you to share my fullness with you. This is the purest form of love. Love that gives, love that creates, love that chooses simply for the joy of the beloved. So I encourage you today, walk like you belong. Shift your posture from one of apology to one of authority. Lift your head, square your shoulders, and enter every room with the quiet dignity of a child of the King. You are not begging for a crumb. You are seated at the banquet. Stop chasing approval as proof of your worth. It is a race you cannot win, and it is a race you were not designed to run. Step off the track. Let people think what they want. Their opinions cannot add 1 cubit to your stature, nor can they diminish the glory I have placed upon you. Commit to the relationship that truly matters, your relationship with me. Prioritize the secret place. Make our time together the anchor of your day. When you are aligned with me, you will find that the right people align with you naturally, without you having to chase them. Find a community of believers who remind you of who you are, people who speak the language of the kingdom and not the language of the world. You need voices that echo my truth, not voices that amplify your fears. Choose your circle wisely. Choose those who honor the call of God on your life. When the old feelings of rejection rise up, meet them with the truth of your election. Say out loud, I am chosen by God. I am wanted. I am loved. Speak it until your heart catches up with your head. Faith comes by hearing, so let your own ears hear the truth from your own lips. Do not be afraid to be different. Your difference is your destiny. The things that make you stand out are the things I will use to reach people that no one else can reach. Wear your uniqueness with pride, for it is my design. Let go of the need to be understood by everyone. It is okay if they don't get it. They didn't call you, I did. As long as you and I are on the same page, you are in the right place. Peace comes from pleasing God, not from explaining yourself to people. Trust the timing of your life. If you feel like you are in a holding pattern, trust that I am refueling you for the next leg of the journey. I am never late. Your suddenly is coming, and it will happen at the exact right moment. Practice gratitude for the small signs of my love. The sunrise, the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, and it opens your eyes to the abundance of my grace. Remember that you are not competing with anyone. There is enough grace, enough love, and enough purpose for everyone. Celebrate the victories of others, knowing that their success does not diminish yours. We are on the same team. Be gentle with yourself. You are a work in progress, and I am a patient craftsman. I am not angry that you are not finished yet. I am enjoying the process of making you. Give yourself the same grace I give you. Take a step of faith today. Do something that scares you, something that requires you to lean on my strength. Step out of the boat and keep your eyes on me. You will find that the water holds you up when I am the one calling you out. My child, you are chosen, cherished, and celebrated. You are the apple of my eye, the joy of my heart. Walk in that truth, live in that freedom, and rest in that love. I chose you before the world began, and I choose you again today, and I will choose you forever. If this message has spoken to your spirit and reminded you of your true home in my heart, I invite you to stay connected here so we can continue to walk this path of healing together. By subscribing, you allow these reminders of truth to find you regularly. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are never alone. Go in peace.